Every day I search in spite of me. Every day I search for what I cannot see. Every day I search for you. Every day I search for the truth. Just can't help falling in love with you. More with everything you do. Speak and the mountains tremble with fear. And at the sound of your voice, I know you are near, be near to me. Every day I long deep inside of me. Every day I long for what's plain to see. Every day I long to be with you. Every day I long for the truth. Just can't help falling in love with you. More with everything you do. Speak and the mountains tremble with fear. And at the sound of your voice, know you are near, be near to me. And the rain falls like tears, and most days I cry, but facing my fears, the truth I won't deny. Just can't help falling in love with you. Love with you. More than every little thing you do. Speak out the mountains, travel with you. And at the sound of your voice, know you are near. Just can't help falling in love with you. Love with you. More than every little thing you do. Speak out the mountains, travel with you. And at the sound of your voice, know you are near, be near to me.
This button, and then I press this button, and now we live.
Hello and welcome to Church Online with the Ecclesian House, and happy Big Game Day. That's what we're going to call it, Big Game Day, because we want our Facebook and YouTube streams to, continue broadcasting throughout the night without getting taken down.
Yep.
So this is our third Big Game Day fellowship. And traditionally what we do is we'll have the game running and we'll talk during the game, and then we'll enjoy the commercials, which right now the commercials are on, so I apologize for interrupting. the commercials. There we go. The game's back on, so that's perfect. So, how was your week, Pastor Nooms?
It was pretty good. I'm not watching the game at all, cause I'll go on Google later and watch commercials. But it was pretty good. Um, uh, I didn't really do anything other than work and work. So it was a pretty boring week. Nothing really special.
Okay.
I did finish the normal tier of the raid this week, but I mean that's not that big of a deal.
Mm. Yeah, on our game, we are in between arcs.
Uh huh.
There's a usually an arc every month, and we're in between arcs right now. So it's the just grind killing hostiles kind of thing that they lots of games do. Just go out and kill a bunch of hostiles, and we'll give you special rewards for it. But
Yeah.
so it's been kind of a boring week in the game. Not that I've been playing the game as much as I used to. I've been looking for a full time day gig, and I've been looking for a rent home for our family to move into. And we did find one home this week that is not the rent home for us. That was made very clear by the property management company that told us no. So that rent home is not the rent home that we'll be moving into, even though we absolutely loved it. It had an amazing backyard and all the space and the right
Mhm.
places, but obviously not for us. So we'll just press forward. So I'm still looking for a day job. So if anybody's got a nice day job in the DFW area and you want to hit me up and see if I would be a good fit, I would appreciate that. Um, when they say things like, "Well, what do you do? What kind of job are you looking for?" And I'm like, "I'm just looking to be gainfully employed. Thanks." Doesn't have to be in any kind of niche, and as long as I can, have two bad knees and a bad hip, and still do it. So, i.e., not a whole lot of walking.
Yeah, not
Uh,
something where you're walking 12 miles a day.
yeah,
That's bad.
because I was doing 13 miles a day when I was working for Gateway, and doing pest control. I was carrying, you know, um, just over a gallon of water around businesses and around homes and up and down stairs and um, just the bending and the
Mhm.
and all that, and that got to be too much for my body to handle on it, um, for several hours in a row. Couldn't do that. So yeah, so I'm looking for something I can do, um, but that's where I'm at.
And just so anyone knows who's listening, there is some random feedback that we can't trace down today, and so just as a heads up, if you do hear it, we know it's there. Not that anyone said anything yet, but we don't know where it's coming from, and we can't figure it out, and we've tried moving things and levels and everything. So just so in case anyone knows, it's coming in and out. It's on Pastor Bill's side, so it's his
Yeah,
fault
it's
somehow.
on my side. It's somehow my
Um,
my setup is somehow getting feedback today, but I don't know what. I mean, like Pastor Noom said, we've moved everything around, and it seems to be completely random. It's not
and if
any of
he
the
tries to
actual
get up and
physical items.
leave or to turn around physically, it gets real bad. So let's not have
Oh
him
yeah,
even move at all.
when I move out of the way, maybe it's coming from back here, and my body's just partially breaking it. I don't know,
Maybe
but
it's yeah. You got up to go use the restroom in our pre-meeting, and I had to take my headset off and just look at the screen and wait for you to get back because it was so bad.
it was so bad. Sorry about that, man. Didn't mean to
It's
cause you
okay.
problems because
You
I
were
went
just
to use the restroom.
you're just trying to blow my eardrums out. It's no big deal. No big deal. Thought you loved
Yeah,
me and
so
stuff, but
I wish we knew what was causing it, but I just don't. I don't know what's causing it.
yep. But it's
There's
all good.
nothing new about the setup. Everything that's here during our normal Sunday night is the stuff that's here.
Yep.
There's nothing here that's new. It's all the same stuff. I mean,
Yep. Yep.
I don't know.
It's okay. It happens. Um, And
What's up, Zadie? Zadie's here on Twitch.
I don't think she is.
She
I think
says-
she started it and then just walked away.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it says hi. I'm here. I'm sorry I'm late, but you know,
No, she's
if you
fibbing.
think your wife is lying on Twitch and just,
I think she is.
then she better respond to let us know that she's actually here. Since you just called out her integrity in front of all the vast numbers of people. Oh,
In
look,
front of-
there's nope, she's still here.
No, I
See
don't
that?
think she is. I don't think she is.
Oh, but she replied, man. She said it. Nope, still
Lies.
here. There she is right there. Pastor News
I used my Twitch powers. I called her a liar.
uses Twitch powers to say lies on Twitch. That's so rude. So rude, man. So rude.
I just forgot I can't do that without muting because you guys probably all heard that.
The drinkage
Yeah.
noise? Yeah, I heard some drinkage noise. Now see, now you're talking and you're muted, so I can't hear you. Your
Yep.
wife says, "Don't be a dork." Can't hear you.
I pushed a button. That was weird.
Now I can hear you.
Must not have pushed it correctly.
Yes, Zadie, squelching noises. We know that there is some feedback. We can't figure
No,
out
she's
what's
talking about the
causing
cup.
it. Oh, the cup squelching.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Don't be squelching, Nooms. Don't be squelching.
I'm a squelchy
Squelchers
voice.
get stitches. Oh wait, that's something else. Snitches get stitches. That's who's
30-second buffer. 30-second buffer. 30-second buffer.
Oh my
Wonder why he
goodness.
started.
The commercials are on, and they're not gonna make that jump. There's no way. Oh, good, it wasn't real.
Oh, you poor boy.
That was a good Rocket Mortgage commercial. That was fun.
They sometimes have some good ones. Sometimes they have some good ones. But sometimes they don't.
Zadie, no, he hasn't always had that border. We recently added that border when I was the little head, just to put a frame on there and make it a little more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, because his weird carpet thing makes everything look weird when he's the little head.
Yeah, and I'm the little head. This carpet makes things weird. Hopefully, we can find a rent house where I won't have to have this behind.
Yeah.
And I can actually put this on the floor because it's a rug. You know, I can actually put the rug on the floor, and then I can put stuff on the wall behind me, or like you have another desk surface.
You mean long term, you don't want a carpet behind you and sitting in a closet?
Well, I mean, actually, the desk is in the closet. I'm actually sitting in the room just outside the closet because if you've ever seen a mobile home closet, the closet's only like 2-3 foot deep, but then it's real long, you know.
Yeah.
So the clothes are pushed over, and I have my desk in the closet, and then I'm sitting in the room just outside the closet.
Well, at some point, Pastor Bill, we would like you to fully come out of the closet because it's just not conducive for you to be in there.
So this week's podcast was about money,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't talk about money really.
We don't.
It's not really our thing, and we're not. There may be some people that are called to talk about money and to help people with their money, and that's not really where we are or what we do. And I tried not to. Zadie on Twitch says that was a smooth transition. Well, you know, I try. I try to have the smoothest transitions in the business, and so here we are.
Well, when you're dealing with me, you kind of have to be able to transition
Man,
pretty well.
dealing with you is like, okay, so it's like we're in a car and I'm in the driver's seat and I'm driving, but you're a kangaroo in the front passenger seat. And we got this car from a driver's ed school. And so you also have a steering wheel
Mhm.
and a gas and a brake.
Mhm.
And that's what's like this is like sometimes. Sometimes that kangaroo be grabbing that wheel or slamming on them
I,
pedals.
I
And
I
I'm like,
like
no, 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 no,
I
no.
like to feel more like a circus monkey.
Oh, okay. Not a kangaroo, a circus monkey.
Circus monkey, because I'm in the front seat. I have the capability to steer. I
And
have,
sometimes you do fling poo.
and sometimes I fling poo. And so, you know, I might slam on the brake. I might slam on the gas. I might jerk us to the left. I might just throw poo at everyone. So I'm kind of like the circus monkey in the little
Uh,
box. That's why I have a little box down here. I am circus monkey.
circus monkey in the box. Down here. Down there.
Nope. Yep.
There. Up there.
Yep. Down there. Yep. Yeah. Serafina is my assistant circus monkey. Um, as my wife just said. I am very bouncy if I fall down though. It is quite odd. I break the laws of physics when I fall. It's the
Yeah,
weirdest
you
thing.
bounce.
I bounce. I'm like Tigger. I bruise real bad, and then it's like people look at you and you're like, "Did you just bounce?" No.
No,
You
100%.
bounced. No.
Talking about.
I one time rolled down a bleachers. Rolled down from the top of the bleachers all the way down. Took out this girl at the bottom of the bleachers. It was when I was in high school. Just nailed her in the back of the head on my way down. And I landed on my feet because I bounced at the bottom and then ended up on my feet. And someone was like, "How do you do that? He fat." I'm like, "I don't know.
I didn't.
I don't know."
I didn't. Just
But when I
happened.
fall, it ends up, I bounce and then I end up like bruising like three things. It's never like, "Oh, he fell and broke a limb." It's like, "Oh, he fell and bounced twice," which bruised his hip bone, his shoulder, and then his elbow. You're like, "What?" On opposite sides? Like, what? So,
Yeah, it was a shockwave. It hit here,
yeah.
and then it
It-
traveled through and caused the bruise on the other end.
I'll
Shockwave.
never forget when I bounced carrying a lady's two large pizzas and bounced on some ice outside of her apartment. That was an experience.
Ooh, you were sore after that.
I was, and they forced me to go home because I refused to go home and kept trying to deliver pizzas, and that wasn't smart. I'm not the smartest person when it comes to bodily injury. I've dealt with pain for too many years, so I'm like, it's fine. I'm just hurting real bad. You're crying. You're standing there and crying. Nah, I
Your
can't.
your lovely wife, who loves you
Am I?
so much, brought up the most important point.
It is true.
You saved the pizza.
No, I fully believe that God saved the pizza because that pizza was upside down and bounced with me in the pizza bag. And I get up to the door and I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I need you to check your pizza. I just fell. I'm covered in like the snow is like on me because and it's mushy. It's not real. And so I'm obviously dirty. I'm like, I just fell. I'm sorry. I need you to check your pizza." And the lady's like, "No, it's fine. Whatever it looks like, it's perfectly fine." I'm like, "No, we need to check it." She opens it up and she goes, "It's perfect." And I went, "Huh? No." And I'm looking, I'm like, "The bag was upside down." They're like, "Well, the pizza's perfect." I'm like, "Okay."
That's so crazy. Pizza is not. Pizza is too frail for that.
Yeah. There's
It
no.
just shouldn't happen. It shouldn't
Mm-mm.
happen that your pizza lands upside down and
Mm-mm.
you're like, okay, we're good. No.
Especially like a Pizza Hut pizza, because like the thing is when a pepperoni pizza comes out of the oven, pepperonis are greasy,
Super grease.
and so when you put it in the box, if that pizza even gets tilted very much, that grease is going to run off the top of that pizza. And that's why they have the pizza inserts in boxes. That's why you get the little tables to keep the pizza from touching the top of the box, touching the pizza. Because as soon as the top of that box touches the pizza, you're done. And yeah, it was a fun experience. Yeah, I did bruise 3 ribs, and I was forced to go to the emergency room by my lovely wife and my manager, who called my wife because I refused to leave.
Called your wife and tattled on you.
She did. So.
All right. So this podcast, we talked about money.
We did.
We talked about talents, which, okay. And we talked about being a good steward, but mainly it was about money, which is out of the realm of normalcy for the Ecclesian House. It's out of the norm of normalcy for the Berean Manifesto. And Nooms, are you taking care of Twitch right now? And so we're in this series of things that we're doing where we're going back over the basics of, making sure that we're all on the same page. So we started off talking about having a Sabbath every week, how the importance of, taking 1 day of rest after every 6 days of work. Then we talked about tithing, giving 10% of your increase to God, and how originally it wasn't 10%. It was just a set, defined, easy to carry, easy to give thing, and kind of changed to being 10%. And if you're watching commercials during the big game, the commercials just came on. But we're kind of, we're still
going back and forth. Yeah,
we're going back and forth. But right now we're still talking about what we've already done. So I'm just going to keep going for the moment. And then we talked about the Berean lifestyle and, owning your own study of the scriptures and being, honestly, it boils down to being a good steward of what you're learning, and not just taking something that someone has taught at face value and going, yes, that's the gospel truth. Whether it's me saying it or Pastor Noom saying it or some other pastor or whomever is saying it, you don't just take it as the gospel truth. Imagine if the president got up and gave a speech and he said something like, we are a people of laws. We're a government of laws, not of people. We are not for the people. We are not by the people. We are a government of laws. If you just took that at face value, instead of going back to the Constitution, instead of going back to what has been written time and time and time again about what our democratic republic is, then you might think that we are a government of laws. We're a country of laws, which is not true. It's just not what we are. Or you can go back to some things that Trump said that aren't true, or you could go back to any president before that. I just chose that specific statement because that's one that our current president holds to that doesn't line up constitutionally. But that's the point. We need to take things that are said to us, whether it's by a president or a boss at a job or a preacher or a teacher or whomever, and we need to take that back to what we have available as our guiding line, as our proof, and test it against that proof to see if it holds up. So when a president says something, you take that to the Constitution. When a teacher says something, you take that to the textbook. When a preacher says something, you take that to the Bible, so on and so forth.
When a textbook says something, you take that back to actual facts.
Right. Still have to. Sometimes you still have to fact check textbooks, which is weird, but yeah, sometimes you do.
Textbooks are a fuzzy one. That's a very bad example. Sorry.
That
bad, Pastor Bill.
My
bad.
My bad. All right. So after we talked about the Berean lifestyle, we actually had an episode called Prostitution, which has been our most popular episode for the last several months. Probably because of the title. I don't know, but it's gotten the most replays and it's gotten the most attention of any episode that we've released in the last few months, at least. Uh, why are you burying your head in your hands, Pastor Noobs?
No reason. Just none. I'm
It's
done.
been quite a popular episode, but honestly, it was talking about betraying our first
Yeah.
love, and worshiping idols, and um, turning away from um, turning away from God and our faith, and believing and trusting in other things, which
Hmm.
then God labels as prostitution, and Paul
Oops.
takes some. Huh?
None.
Okay.
I did not open something up over your face. It didn't happen.
And Paul takes a much lighter hand on and is much nicer in the way he frames it than the way that God frames it in the book of Ezekiel,
Hmm.
right? So now we find ourselves here, and we're talking about money, and we're talking about stewardship, and we're gonna look at the parable in Matthew chapter 25.
Hmm.
That is the parable of the talents. And when you go back and you reread the parable of the talents all the way through, it's actually not talking about money. It's not
Mm-mm.
talking about money. It's not talking about spiritual giftings. It's not talking about what you're good at doing. It is in its purest form. It
Stewardship.
is talking about, well, it is stewardship, but it's specifically talking about religion and the gospel, right?
You're talking
So,
specifically,
yeah,
like the.
specifically what the
Yeah.
parable itself is
Okay.
actually talking about.
Yes.
So, one guy is given 5 talents, or in perspective, he's given the whole enchilada. He's given the whole religion. Um, Maybe not everything that you can have, but he's given the most insight into God. And he goes out and he doubles it. The second guy is given not quite as much, but he's given something. He goes out and he doubles it. The last guy is given the smallest amount. He hoards it. He holds on to it. He doesn't grow it. He doesn't do anything with it. And what he has is taken away from him and given to the one with the most. And so that's what it's actually talking about. But it is a good example of strong, firm concepts
Hmm.
that we can apply to spiritual giftings. We can apply to money. We can apply to whatever. So, well, maybe not whatever, but I'm going to read the parable and then we will discuss. Yes?
That's typically what we do. Yeah.
That's typically what we do. All right.
Yeah.
So, is Biggs not joining us tonight? Is he,
Um, he is probably big gaming it up, or he
Probably.
is asleep. I have no idea
Mhm.
which.
Okay.
Because I haven't spoken to him all day. I didn't have my phone all day, actually. My wife and girls went to go do the Pokemon Day and took my phone with them, and so I was without my phone all day. So I have no idea what's going on in the world.
That's
So
funny.
I don't know what he's doing.
So, I earlier when I was getting everything ready, and I was setting the video version of the new podcast to come out on Wednesday night,
Uh huh.
Finnick was sitting in my lap, and he saw the 2 previous videos that are still in the queue. They've gone out, but they're still sitting in the
Mhm.
queue as had gone out of you, because I couldn't do any video editing on the files you sent me. My laptop didn't recognize the file versions. My iPad didn't recognize the file versions. So I said, whatever, we'll just drop them the way they are. But
Yep.
he saw you and he goes, ooms, ooms. And I was like, I'm sorry, buddy. That's just a picture. He's not there. Oh, ooms.
You can always call me.
You didn't have your phone.
Well, you don't ever talk to me on the phone. We
It's true.
use Discord. You learned the secret. I keep telling people that Pastor Bill learned the secret. I do not respond to my phone. I don't.
Mm-mm.
Don't touch my phone. My phone sits on my desk, or it could be anywhere in the house at any moment because I don't pay attention to it. You ping me on Discord, I'm going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
You ping me
Right
on,
away.
and so because of that, I'm like, and so it's funny because since I've been out of state, um, out of Texas. Pastor Bill, it's kind of like, okay, okay. And then like last week, un he finally unlocked the secret and was just like, hmm. Oh look, he responds when I do this.
He responds on Discord.
I only respond on it. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me. It's the one thing that's always open. Other than when your face is on the second computer. Ooh, that's a lot of feedback all of a sudden. Like fuzzy feedback.
I'm sorry, guys. I
Ooh.
don't know.
I'm gonna mute you for a second till it goes away. That's like real bad. I don't know. Alright, it cleared up a little. It's just background noise again.
Okay, well, the commercials are on now, but go ahead, keep going.
So, yeah, you unlocked the secret. Tina unlocks the secret every night. So like, she goes to bed and she goes, "I love you. I'll talk to you later." And she gives me a kiss on my head, and then she goes to bed. And then at a certain point, I start getting the gifts. Ding. I'd like cuddles. Ding. I love you. Ding. It just gif after gif. Woo, that's bad. That's bad. That's you're muted. You're muted for a minute. So she then just pings me over and over again, and it's quite humorous. Because she knows the secret. I'll tell you when you're unmuted, because it's real bad. It might be something to do with the commercials, because you know how they actually turn up the volume during commercials? Because it's unbearable at the moment. Move your hands or something. Move your hands like in between the... Yeah. No. No. Touch the computer. No. Nothing's working. Nothing's working. It's so loud. Luckily it's gone. It's really loud. Gone. Loud. So loud. Gone. So loud. Now it's loud again. This is the weirdest thing. I have it off. They're not getting the feedback. But I am so getting the feedback. Put your hand back on the mic thing. No, on the arm. Yeah. And rotate it slightly. Nope. Rotate it the other way. That's good. That's awesome. I can hear the whistles, but that's awesome. So who knows why it wants your mic way over there?
I have no idea.
So you're going to be a little weird. You sound a little off, but it's better than me having to leave you muted and giving myself a migraine. You're unmuted now, though, so you can speak again. I'm not sure why that was happening. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know.
You're still clear, and I can't hear the big game, so.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll pick back up where we left off.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was about to read the parable in Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 through 30. That's what made me think of Biggs not being here, is because I was like, I'm about to read. I better tell him where I'm reading from, but then he's not here. So.
And then just a whole bunch of feedback.
Yeah. Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 through 30. For it is just like a man about to go on a journey. He called his own servants and entrusted his possessions to them. To one, he gave 5 talents. To another, 2 talents. And to another, 1 talent, depending on each one's ability. Then he went on a journey. Immediately, The man who had received 5 talents went, put them to work, and earned 5 more. In the same way, the man with 2 earned 2 more. But the man who had received 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 talents approached, presented 5 more talents, and said, Master, you gave me 5 talents. See, I've earned 5 more talents. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Share your master's joy. The man with 2 talents also approached. He said, Master, you gave me 2 talents. See, I've earned 2 more talents. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Share your master's joy. The man who received 1 talent also approached and said, Master, I know you. You're a harsh man, reaping where you haven't sown and gathering where you haven't scattered seed. So I was afraid and went off and hid your talent in the ground. See, you have what is yours. His master replied to him, You evil, lazy servant. If you knew that I reap where I haven't sown and gather where I haven't scattered, then you should have deposited my money with the bankers, and I would have received my money back with interest when I returned. So take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have more than enough. But from the one who does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. And throw this good-for-nothing servant into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Which, I want to say one thing right off the bat. The third person is special from the beginning. So, like, I knew you. I know you. First off, do you? Like, right there is proof that he don't. He's a bad servant before this situation even gets started. Like,
Yep.
he's trying to make excuses for what he knew was wrong before he even started.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I've always like gotten on my nerves seeing, the third person, he's making excuses before he's even corrected. And we've all been in business when that's happened. Where like you pull someone in and you're like, "Hey, we need to talk about something." Well, I've been real sick recently. Okay, first off, you don't know what we're even talking about. Like, why are you already making And so he like starts off. Now I know what you really want. Well, no, you don't, obviously, because you didn't do it. Um, that's always gotten to me
Mm-hmm.
about the story is like straight up. I know what you want. I know who you. No, you don't. You is special. Big says he hates me, and that's why he's not watching tonight.
Oh, that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay.
It is not because he is busy with football and the Floof Monster, um, which is their new dog. My term for their new dog is the Floof Monster, and so now people have started actually using it, which is probably going to make my mom upset at some point that no one's using her actual name, but that's okay. Um, so it looks like he is playing with the Floof Monster and um, watching the game as opposed to loving us.
Gotcha. Okay. So for what we're talking about with money and stewardship and all of this, so when we take this parable that we already talked about what the truest, purest form of the parable is, and we talked about its solid concepts, right? So when we apply this to what we're talking about with money, what I did in the podcast is I changed a little bit of it, and not really changing the meaning of what's going on because Jesus already used the term talents, which
Mm-hmm.
is a measure of money
Yes.
in their time, right? And so the first thing I did is I switched it and I changed out talents with income, okay? And then I took five, like say 5 talents, and I actually changed that to 5 times the poverty level,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we're all familiar with what it is to be at the poverty level, below the poverty level, middle class, upper class. We all know what these ideas mean, and so I wanted to put it in more of terms and perspective that
Mm-hmm.
in our main audience, which our main audience is, people in the United States of America, that we can relate to and we can look at and go, okay, I have a better grasp on what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, um, the first guy gets, let's say, 5 times the poverty level. The second guy gets 2 times the poverty level. And the third guy gets right at the poverty level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I broke that down in the podcast. What does that mean as far as actual numbers, right? So the poverty level in the United States for one person, if you're a single person, and you're working, then poverty level for you is $12,760 per year. Okay.
Which, let's point out, just as a side note, that's crazy. Even, I know that that's what we say it is, but if you live in a metroplex or you live in a, it's still rough. But I've always hated that measurement because of what is actuality versus what the government tells us actuality should be. But continue.
Right. So then I compared that to the actual, right now, the federal minimum wage
Mm-hmm.
is $7.25 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In some states, they take it upon themselves to make it more. Some states pass certain laws where certain industries make less, but the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
In order to make $12,760 a year at minimum wage, you have to work 34 hours a week for 52 weeks a year. No weeks off, no vacations. You have to make 34 hours a week. Now, I wanted to point out that already in our calculations, this master is paying his servants better
Mm-hmm.
than most businesses in the United States. Okay. So full-time hours, as defined by the federal government, where you have to offer benefits as in health insurance, starts at 34 hours a week. So if you have an employee that's working 34 hours a week, they are now a full-time employee,
Mhm.
according to federal definitions. Most jobs that pay minimum wage will not schedule their workers for 34 hours a week. They're going to max out at somewhere between 24 and 28 hours a week, meaning even if they work all 52 weeks that year at minimum wage, they will still be below the poverty line in the United States. So not only will they be below the poverty line, they also won't have easy access to a doctor, okay? Because they don't have health insurance. So that's not great. So already, this master is treating his least paid servant pretty well, right? This is a pretty good gig. This guy is not getting it bad. This guy has it pretty good. Now, if we look at the guy that was making twice the poverty level in the United States for a single person, that is $25,520 a year, and 5 times the poverty level is $63,800 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why are those numbers important? Why do we care to put it in examples of how much they're making and how that translates to what we're looking at? Well, mainly because I wanted to make it clear that none of these three guys are getting rich in their day job.
Yeah.
They're not like going to work and making bank. They're not making $100,000 a year. They're not making $150,000 a year. If you showed these numbers to Congress right now and you said, these are what people are making, they would look at those people and they go, yes, all three of those guys, they get stimulus checks. Let's put them at the front of the line. They need help. They're not getting rich at their day job. They are technically under federal definitions. They are struggling to get by, but at the same time, they're not necessarily hurting.
Right.
They can pay their bills. Maybe the guy that's making the minimum, the right at the poverty line, he might be struggling, but hopefully he can find a roommate. And
Yeah,
they can
he's got
split the
4
cost of
roommates
living, and they can,
17 people living in their
hopefully-
house.
Not 17. Hopefully they can get it worked out. Okay. So the master goes on a journey, and the guy with 5 times the poverty level, right? So this is a $63,800 a year person. He goes out and he puts his money to work, and he comes back with double. He doubles his money. And the same thing with the 2 times person. They take what they have and they use it and they double it, right? And we're not talking about none of these guys in this example are people who are going out and wasting their money. It doesn't say they're going out and partying. It doesn't say they're going out and using it on drugs and alcohol and temporary companionship. Heck, after last week's episode, I guess I could just say they're not going out and buying prostitutes. They're not hooking around. I can just go ahead and say it now.
You can't say hooking.
Why can't you say hooking?
No, it's too far.
Why is that too far?
Oh, my brain hurts.
They're not going out and baiting hooks and fishing away their hours. They're not hooking. Does that know what that means?
That's not what that means. But continue.
Okay. So I know that's not what that means. But the guy, your wife thought it was funny.
My wife loves your disgusting humor. She always has. Continue.
Disgusting humor. So, the guy with the one talent, the guy with the right at the poverty line, this guy, he's got a mindset that's different than the other 2 guys. That's the difference here, right? Is they all 3 have a certain mindset about what they've been given. And the first 2 guys, the guy that has 5 times, your wife would like to remind you on Twitch that she has known me longer than you have. True story. True story.
Y'all can have
We've
each
been on
other.
a mission trip together.
That neither of you remembered until photos.
That neither of us remembered the other one being on until later in photos. Yes. Okay. So the guy with 5 times and the guy with 2 times, they have a certain mentality about what they have, about what they've been given, right? Their viewpoint is, I've been given this blessing, I've been given this income, I've been given this whatever, and I'm going to use that to better myself, to better the world around me, to invest in the world around me. And the guy that's only been given 1, the guy that's been given at that lowest level there, he has this mindset of, well, I have what I have, and I need to hold on to it, and I need to it's my precious. I need to hold on to it and hoard it. I can't use it to better myself. I can't use it to help people around me because I only have so much. And he holds on to it real tight, and then it never goes anywhere, right? So that's the money part of what we're talking about, is everyone has a certain amount of money that you've been given. And like I said, we're not in the business of telling you how or where to spend your money. There are resources out there that can tell you how to invest, how to save, how to just on and on and on, that you can go and you can get information on about how to use your money. But what we're doing, what we're saying here is, Everyone has a certain amount you've been given. Everyone. You have
Mhm.
something. No one has nothing. You may only have the clothes on your back and the strength of your arm and your voice, but you've got something. And the concept, the idea, the push here is to use what you have to influence the world around you, to make the world around you a better place.
Mhm.
Now you have what's known as spheres of influence, right? You influence certain people in your personal life. You have influence over people in social media. You have influence over people at work. You have influence over people. I mean, you go to the store and you have certain circles of influence where
Mhm.
you're influencing other people. You may not realize it, but you are. They look at what's in your card and they go, oh, they're getting that. Maybe I should get that. You go into the cash register. Someone behind you's having a bad day. The cashier's going slow, and you start up a conversation with the cashier about what's going on in their life, and they start telling you about the struggles they're facing. The guy behind you's like, oh my gosh, I was totally judging this person until now I realize they're a human like me, and they're hurting like me, and they're struggling like me. You have circles of influence.
Mhm.
And the idea is to use those circles of influence to better the world around you. Now, in the podcast, I mentioned taking it a step further as a thought project, as something for you to do on your own and kind of piece this together in your own mind. What if we replace the idea of talents or income and we replace that all together with the idea of prosperity?
Mhm.
You have some way that you've been prospered, health, uh, family. Yes, sure, you can be prospered financially, but that's not the strictest definition of prosperity. A lot of people try to say, prosperity is finances, but we don't adhere to that. We don't support that definition. Prosperity is a lot of things,
Mhm.
health and family, and um, I can't even list off a good list because it's so extensive and it's different for every person. My family makes up the biggest part of what my idea of prosperity is. Having those moments of peace when I'm with my family and we don't have much money and all the struggles that we're struggling against as the world's pushing and we're pushing back, but that place of peace for just those few moments where I've got my wife and I've got my kids with me and we're healthy, that's prosperity. That's a good example of prosperity for me. We have to take what we have, what we've been given, and use it to influence the world around us. And that applies to the way you've been prospered as well. Maybe you've been given intelligence. Maybe you've been given wisdom. Maybe you've been given gaming acumen. Whatever it is, using that to reach out into the world around you, to reach out into those spheres of influence, and using those to make the world a better place. And
Mhm.
that is the actual core message of
Mhm.
what this podcast was about,
Yep.
right? Sure, it was about money. Sure, it was about stewardship, which is
But it's
taken care of well. Uh, but at its core,
yeah.
it's using what you have to make the world around you a better place. That's what I have for tonight.
Mhm. And I think that's so important is you know, there's this thought process and I read it in a book one time. I don't know when, you know, um the idea of being poor or being prosperous. You know, the term poor means more than just financial. It is a poverty mindset that some people have. Not saying everyone does, not saying I'm not, you know, gonna sit there and be like, well, no, if you've ever said that, then this is what it. No, I'm not going there with it. But like one thing I've always done is I try not to say, oh well, I'm poor right now, because being poor right now means I have a mindset that I am being that. Um, And so I just, oh, I'm broke. You know, because I'm not poor. I'm upper middle class. Not poor, but some days you're broke. you know, and so it's that aspect of it's something that is so important because there are people who it's the money in the mattress. That's something I've always looked at with the talents. The parable of the talents is there are people who just oh, I got something, I'm going to shove it in my mattress, as opposed to using it for some form of prosperity. Like you said, it could be a memory. I'm not saying you necessarily have to go play the stock market. It's good sometimes if you have the patience for it. I don't. I'd end up losing my shirt or having one good day, and it would just be bad. I'm not good at stuff like that, and so um, it's sometimes it's investing in things. Sometimes it's because even investing in yourself and your family is an investment. It has returns. And I think that's something that's real important to remember is it's not just even when you're talking about money, it's not hey, this investment equals more money. Sometimes an investment is simply an investment into yourself or your family or other things. And oftentimes that's the best use of that money. Um, Especially if you're not great at actually investing. But you shouldn't just be putting it somewhere, and you shouldn't be using your resources, whatever they are, your influence, your resources, your conversations. You shouldn't just be sitting on them. You should be at least spreading it to the people around you.
Yeah.
So that's all I was gonna say.
Cool. Good.
Don't
That was a good addition.
don't be a goblin or a dragon and hoard your stuff.
Right. Don't do that.
Don't be a goblin.
Don't be a goblin. Don't be a goblin. Don't be a goblin.
30-second buffer.
Ah.
30
So the
second
podcast
buffer.
that's coming out in 5 minutes is about. What do you think it's about, Pastor Nooms?
You almost called me uncle again.
I did, your uncle.
I have no idea because we haven't talked about it, and I'm
We
not
haven't.
going to try to guess.
We didn't talk about it. I didn't send you a primer. I didn't do
There
anything.
was nothing. It's because you don't love me like my father doesn't love me today. There's no.
So the podcast coming out in 5 minutes is about love. We've got Valentine's Day coming up, and
Wait, what day
we're
is that?
still the 14th.
Wait, we have to have the podcast on Valentine's Day?
We wouldn't have to if you have a hot date lined up or something.
That's such an important day in our both of our families. We celebrate Valentine's Day so
right.
much.
So we will definitely be here
Yeah.
next Sunday.
As my wife
for
even
the
calls
live
it out.
broadcast.
Why? We don't celebrate it.
We don't celebrate that. We're not mushy people, she says. So we're still really on these basics thing. And there is nothing more basic for the Ecclesian House, for the Berean Manifesto than love. It is literally the one of the most foundational things that we do. We every message that we release, I try to make sure that it is some aspect of faith, some aspect of hope, or some aspect of love. And I try to steer us towards more love than anything else because, as 1 Corinthians chapter 13 tells us, faith, hope, and love remain, and the greatest of these is love. And the main principle of the whole New Testament is love. The whole idea of the New Testament is love. Loving God, loving others, loving yourself. And so we are going to be talking about love, and it happens to tie in well, timing-wise, with Valentine's Day. And so it is our quote-unquote Valentine's episode. And yeah, so go listen to that when it comes out in 3 minutes. Or you can go listen to it after the big game. And then on Wednesday, you can. Why are you rolling your eyes? We're not allowed to say the name of the game.
I
It's
understand.
The big game.
I just don't care.
Just like technically we're not allowed to say Olympics, but that's okay. They're not going to shut us down for saying that. But if we say the name of the big game during the big game, we will definitely get shut down. So, and then come back on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time if you want to see my lovely face presenting the podcast to you wherever you're watching this video live right now. You can watch that on Wednesday.
You can.
Do you have anything else to say about this week?
Just don't be nuts. Like, don't do stupid things. The world is so stupid right now. Just try to be a good person.
Go out there, don't be stupid, and remember we love y'all.
Just try. Just try not to be one of those this week, please.
Zadie says right now, go out right now. Right now, go out.
She's gonna get it in a minute.
She's gonna get it, huh?
She's gonna get it.
All right, we can do our 30-second buffer now. It's the halftime show, and the Weeknd is singing with his skinnier nose from his plastic surgery. I don't know why he did that to himself. Looks weird, but what?
Calling out the man's nose. I mean, really?
Well, when he was on Saturday Night Live, it was right after his procedure, and he had 2 black eyes, and he was just like, whatever. And he was just going with it. But yeah, he had very publicly had plastic surgery recently, and
okay. He made it public. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
then.
he made it public.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I didn't know, and I'm like, dude, that's just.
No, he's been super public about it.
Don't throw people under the bus, but if he pulled the bus up to the.
No, he pulled the bus up to the station. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up.
Yeah. Okay, then that's acceptable. Why would he do that?
Yeah. His nose looked great before. I don't understand.
I mean, he
I'm sure he had his reasons. I don't know.
As long as they were for himself, it's okay.
Right, as long as it's for himself, not for his record label or for something else. I mean,
hopefully it was not because of something he felt he had to do, and it was something he wanted to do. Because I'm all for plastic surgery as long as it's something that you're doing for
you.
For your confidence, not for, well, I think I have to because the world says
right there
no.
With you.
I mean, if you got the money for it and you got something that doesn't make you feel comfortable, you don't like, go for it. That's why it's there. But if you feel like you have to, now we have a problem, and I'm gonna get upset with you.
It's like that. It's like that one love song. It's my favorite love song. It's I'm not gonna write you a love song 'cause you asked for it 'cause you need one. You see, I'm not gonna write you a love song. Yeah.
You do know the preface behind that, don't you?
I do. That's why I love it so much.
Yeah. The record label being like, you need to write a love song. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
You need to write a love song. I don't want to. I'm not
Here you go. And they were like, okay.
They're like, we get what you're saying.
That'll work.
But you do realize it's really good, right? I'm good at my
really
job.
Good song.
But
such a good song, and the premise is even better. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're a minute over, so now we're definitely going to do our 30-second buffer. Oh, my gosh. So he's doing his halftime show, and now he's in some kind of weird lit-up tunnel, and there's like 20 or 30 other people dressed just like him with their head wrapped in plastic surgery bandages.
I'm going to have to look that up later. That sounds hilarious. Okay, 30-second buffer. 30-second buffer. 30-second buffer.
Has it been 30 seconds yet?
Of course not. It's been like 4. Buffer. 30-second
30-second
buffer. 30-second buffer.
How long will this 30 seconds last?
Roughly 30 seconds.
Buffer.
30-second buffer. 30-second buffer.
I love y'all. Have a great week.